I'm pretty sure at this point I'm going to the end no matter what, but I want to leave that into my own hands.
Thinking my chances against either of them are about the same, so who wins isn't as important to me as knowing what I need to do if I get there.
Hello everyone, and welcome to part 3 of the 3-part Final Captain's Challenge. This challenge is called Remember Me, and here's how it works.
I feel like this final challenge really is right up my alley. I know people well, and I'm staying cool, calm, and collected.
Question 1. My biggest regret in this game was A, having CJ as a number 2, or B, not managing my threat level. My biggest regret in this game was A, having CJ as a number 2, or B, not managing my threat level. Go ahead, reveal. The correct answer was
having CJ as my number 2.
Which means the correct answer was A, Taylor gets a point. The worst decision anyone made in this game was A, CJ flipping on Kira, or B, myself flipping on Billy. The worst decision anyone made in this game was A, CJ flipping on Kira, or B, myself flipping on Billy. Go ahead, reveal. The correct answer was
myself flipping on Billy.
Which makes the correct answer B, neither of you got the point. The player's game I respected the most this season was A, AJ, or B, Rory. The player's game I respected the most this season was A, AJ, or B, Rory. Go ahead, reveal. The correct answer was
AJ.
Which makes the correct answer A, you both get a point.
Both of them have kind of told me that they want to take me to 2, but actions speak louder than words.
The move that changed this entire game was A, Rocky joining the Billy versus Sarah vote, or B, CJ outing myself, himself, and Marcelo as the final 3. The move that changed this entire game was A, Rocky joining the Billy versus Sarah vote, or B, CJ outing myself, himself, and Marcelo as a final 3. Go ahead, reveal. The correct answer was
Rocky joining the Billy versus Sarah vote.
Which makes the correct answer A, you both get a point. The person I feel most betrayed by is A, Marcelo, or B, Kira. The person I feel most betrayed by is A, Marcelo, or B, Kira. Go ahead, reveal. The correct answer was
Kira.
Which makes the correct answer B, Taylor gets a point. The hardest part of this game for me was A, managing multiple relationships, or B, deciding whether to flush the pendant of power. The hardest part of this game for me was A, managing multiple relationships, or B, deciding whether to flush the pendant of power. Go ahead, reveal. The correct answer was
Managing my multiple relationships.
Which makes the correct answer A. AJ gets a point.
I switched that one last second too.
My favorite challenge this season was A. Picture perfect, or B. Get in shape. My favorite challenge this season was A. Picture perfect, or B. Get in shape. Go ahead and reveal. The correct answer was,
Get in shape.
which makes the correct answer D. And with that, there is no way AJ can come back. Congratulations, Taylor.
That's right, I got myself here. I am so happy I won. I can't wait to be Ascendance Live's first female winner.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 17th elimination of Ascendance Live Season 3. Taylor, as final captain, you will have the sole vote to eliminate. But before we do, you must give AJ and Marcelo a final plea.
Yeah, I thought
Or
I
what
did.
time?
I'm very hopeful that she will take me to the end. I think it's the smartest decision to take me to the end. AJ is a comp beast, and I think that Taylor and I will have a similar challenge, and it will be neck and neck.
I didn't know this was gonna be like this. I thought we were gonna get like one-on-ones. Not that that's gonna change anything. You know, when I walked in this room the very first day, you were one of the few people I saw that I recognized. And while I told myself coming in here I was actually looking to not see too many people, there was comfort in that. And the connection we had, you know, from the beginning, I felt like we've worked together. We've planned eliminations together. We've been there. We've supported each other. I've proven to you a couple times through safety, through, you know, giving you the chance for fire, you know, that I'm with you to the end, and I hope that you will give me that chance to fight. I think Marcelo played an amazing game as well. I think all of us have a valid shot at this, so, you know, let's work and do it. I just have to hope that my social connections to this point can get me to the end.
Congratulations on Final 2. We have been together since our telepathy rules in that storytelling challenge. I know we had a little bump in the road with the Final 4, but I want you to know that that was a really hard decision, and I know that could have affected you. But I've always been true to you. I've always told you what I was going to do. Kind of what AJ said, we've had a lot of similar talks about where votes are going, where different things are headed. I will say, during that last jury question, Ozzy's answer, who we respected the most in this game, was AJ, so I would love if you could take that into account. I think you and I have different stories that we can tell the jury and create a dynamic Final 2. You already know where I was headed in the beginning of this, so I would really appreciate if you could, you know, take me to the Final 2, and I think we could rock that. No, nothing against AJ, but I think you and I have a story to finish.
I have like a second just to think.
You will go into the voting room to vote. So I will give you a few seconds to take that all in.
I have no idea who I should take to the end. On one hand, I have AJ, who's a great friend, who I know outside this game, and he's been a physical beast. And on the other hand, I have Marcelo, who's played a great social game, but I just met him and I have no idea what his speech capabilities are.
I adore both of you. I met you this game. I completely adore you. I have known you before this game, and I adore you. I think you both have played amazing games. I think, like you said, we both have shots. I am just trying to figure out what's best for me because I did not expect to be this close, and none of it is personal, no matter what I do. So, yeah.
The moment I hear her tears, I'm really scared. Hopefully those tears are because she doesn't want to betray Marcelo and she wants to take me to the end.
All right, I have the vote. Before I reveal the vote, Taylor, you can give one last little speech before I reveal your vote.
This is super hard. You guys got me all sorts of work done. But again, like, I don't even know how to say it. I'm like so surprised to be here. I don't think I would have gotten to this point literally without like the both of you. So this was super hard, but at the end of the day, I do think that someone was a clear, like a more of a front runner, and I just feel like I won't even have the chance to like give my side of the game and my perspective with someone who was just so just, you guys both played great games. I just like, I want a chance to, like, we all did come here to win, and it was super hard, so I love you guys.
All right, when I reveal the vote, person voted out will have a few moments to say their goodbyes and leave. First vote. 17th person voted out, and the 9th and final member of the jury. AJ.
I am going to final 2. Oh my god.
I love you so much. I love you both. Thank you for everything.
I can't wait to see you guys open out today.
Thank you.
Good job, seriously.
We love you, AJ.
And it takes 2 votes to take me out.
Yes!
Well, I don't think I wasted my second chance. I think that I fought harder than I realized I could. I'm really proud of myself, and I hope I made others proud, and I think at the end of the day I did do what I said I'd do and play that social game, even though my physical game may have overshadowed it. So many of my wins were team wins. So many of my captain's wins were because people helped me and I relied on those connections. At the end of the day, I feel like I can walk out again at peace with the game that I played and my performance overall.
Back season 3. In just a few minutes, our final 2 will be sitting in these seats and the power will shift to the jury. Let's talk about the journey that they took to get to these seats. Okay, so I always start with the same 2 questions, and sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't. Who thinks they are here directly as a result of Marcelo? Okay, who here thinks they're here directly as a result of Taylor? Okay. What does that say to the jury? If anything, discuss.
Well, for me personally, me and Taylor were in a challenge, so like she had to sit me out. But I honestly believe like I was working with her, so I don't really know. I don't know. I just know like she sent me out for a challenge. So.
For me, it's both. Obviously, I thought I had a final 2 with Marcelo, and that was not the case. I did not trust Taylor for most of the game only because we didn't have to talk, but I don't know who came up with the plan to vote me, but they were both involved in it, and I know Marcelo did not vote for me, but it was per AJ because you made the trade-off, so that he didn't have to put the vote on me, but he would have otherwise.
So I can join in on that. Marcelo came up with the plan.
Marcelo came up with the plan,
and from my perspective, I'm going to ask him this. He didn't vote for you to save face. Like, he came up with the plan, but made sure that everybody else voted for you second.
Was it not the case then that you offered to him to
I
take
did
it?
offer him, yeah. 'Cause I thought that I was to vote Josh and he was voting you, and I could tell I thought he was struggling, and maybe that was a misread on my part, but I did offer him. I said, if you're closer to Sarah, I will vote her if you want to vote Josh. And it did help me then to be able to tell Josh, hey, I didn't vote you because he was going to promise me co-captain if he wanted, that could have helped me. So it was both self-fulfilling for me, but also I did want to offer that to Marcelo if he would have felt better.
So, because you were in on that plan too, so the 3 of you are in agreement that was Marcelo's plan, not, like Taylor didn't come up with that plan? That's just
I thought that you had came up with the plan.
Well, me and Marcelo but Marcelo came to me
Okay.
and was like, I think it's time to make a move on Sarah. And I think it was because CJ put a big spotlight on the guys.
Okay.
I was gonna say, for me, about raising my hand about Marcelo, actually, I know like my name was out there for rounds from my understanding of what we discussed. I just said yes because to me it's like, if you cast the vote to send me out, that was my interpretation. I might have misunderstood the question a little, but like Taylor was safe and was over there when I left, and Marcelo was over here. And also, I remember I told some of you, like, I don't want to go out feeling like a punk, and to just let me know I was going. And Marcelo did have the decency to do that for me. So that factors in for me, but there's just so much to factor in and so much I don't know that I need to learn.
I think with myself regarding Taylor was she was able to talk with me and make me feel like I was on her level, to the point where she was kind of leading me on for several rounds in a row, saying, we're going to make moves, she's going to save me and help me, and ultimately like she didn't. And I'm not sure if that was completely smart on her gameplay, or if I was just completely missed it in great gameplay.
Also something. So they were both not at my elimination, so none of them like had like a chance to vote me off. But like, you all raised your hands at the end because like she got you guys out, and it just shows like she played a really strong end game, and she played under the radar, which I really respect. So yeah, I like her, man, for real. But I really talked any strategy with her, so so I want to get in more in depth in that.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I think I was on a team with Taylor for a majority of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime our team was up for voting,
Mm-hmm.
she always guaranteed that she wouldn't vote for me. And I feel like that showed in the numbers. So I feel like she actually did help me get here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel the same as there. I feel like our stories is kind of, I didn't trust Taylor not one bit in the entire game, and I did trust Marcelo until halfway. So I do think that she was doing a little bit better, maybe with not lying to people as much as he was.
What did Marcelo and Taylor do well to get them to where they are in the game?
Lie. I think he's been lying a lot, which is good and bad. Like it can work both ways. I mean, I was lying. We were all lying, but I think that he was lying a lot and he was lying good.
And I will say he was lying in a way where he didn't get caught. Like he was able to lie or say things to people that it wasn't getting back to other people. So like there's a lot of times we were comparing notes, and for whatever reason nobody was comparing notes on Marcelo. So however, I mean I think that's something that he succeeded in.
I mean, he must have did something right. The man has no votes on his
No votes.
Yeah.
So
He just played, like, at least from my perspective, like very under the radar. Like he was like kind of floating for a lot at the beginning of the game, and it seems like probably a little after my vote and Ali's, it got turned up, and that's when he kicked it into gear, and he got himself to this where he is now. And the ironic thing is, it's like I feel like Taylor also kind of did that.
Mm-hmm.
She was also flying low under the radar. I ended up starting working with her a little bit more, and I also was working with Marcel a little bit, but I also really never knew where they truly lie.
It's interesting that you say that's about the time, because about the time of the double, like shortly after I came back, is when Marcelo truly kind of came on my radar. It's not that I was dismissing him as a player, but like I didn't have a lot of votes or strategy talk with him. But when I came back in, you know, something that was said to me in jury made me think that you and Taylor were close, and Taylor was the person I thought maybe was my number one, and so I started realizing there were pairs, and I was like, does anyone have AJ as her number one? Everyone thought it was me, and I went to Marcelo thinking maybe he would, and he made me believe that, and I do think based on the way the last vote went down that both of them would have gotten rid of me, so he made me feel comfortable there. So that's interesting, because that's when he kind of came on my radar, is about that part of the game, and I'm saying it this way because I'm seeing the game.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize now, because everybody knows me, Marcelo, and Taylor had final three, and I'm starting to realize now, I was like in front of them. I was the loud one. I was that person. So like, I have questions to ask both of them, because it's like, damn, like, I feel played, but good on y'all.
They let you be the spokesman.
Basically, yes.
And that's why under the radar works, but it only works if you get out the shields in front of you. So like I want to say cards fell perfectly for them, but they also played it perfectly. Because Taylor had no votes going into Final Four, which is also extremely impressive.
Yes. It wasn't until I was like, damn, it's down between me, Marcelo, and Taylor, and I kind of, in my mind, I don't know, I was just telling you this, I don't really know when I realized, like, nobody's really like worried about Taylor. And I started to realize like I cannot go to the game with her. So like once I felt like I had the opportunity, I was like, okay, I'm in this position. Taylor has to go. And I tried to convince you like Taylor has to go. She's gonna win at the end because she's like so like in a prime spot. So yeah.
And I will say CJ and I were worried about Taylor, but she had so much social capital with other people that I wasn't going to be the first one to throw her name out and be like, Sarah's going now.
You kind of were mentioning it to me.
I tried to.
Yeah, like I don't really know what she said, but that was me protecting her. Like, don't worry, like I'll always tell you what Taylor is thinking, Sarah. So yeah.
Which wasn't true.
Sorry. I think both collectively just being under the radar players and hiding behind shields, comp beasts, social beasts, like
but maybe
duo, the snake, like
so. But also making us feel comfortable, like while like knew I was a shield, I still felt like, well, that's still my best chance. Like I still had hope with both of them that maybe they'll stick to that. So even if, while using us as shields, they played a social enough game to work.
Like Taylor always made me feel good. Like that final power she found, she was like, hey, I found this. Like we were trying to figure that shit out before she showed everybody.
What did Marcelo and Taylor struggle with that could have hindered their game or you see as a weakness?
That's the biggest issue I think with Under the Radar game is what was, and that's why this is really important now, because for me, what we say here about it, if they sit there and they contradict it, that's kind of like, that's a red flag for me.
That's very true. Like I'm thinking about it, because like even with the Billy thing, like Taylor, I pulled her into that. Like Marcelo was probably like more involved in that than Taylor was, but like Taylor was just like, basically from my perspective, Taylor was like whatever it is that doesn't have my name in it, I'm perfectly fine.
That's the vibe I got.
But there was like a group of people she would do that with, and she wasn't going to do that with everybody.
Well, I wonder if she was doing that on purpose, because she had pulled me aside one day really emotional, saying that because she kind of felt connected to me in the sense that I felt like I was being pushed to vote certain ways, and she said that she felt like people were forcing her to vote certain ways. So I'm curious if she's going to own that or she's going to claim it the opposite this time.
I'm curious about that too, because I then apologized, because I apologized to her for it after our whole thing, and I was like, look, if you felt like your voice wasn't heard, I'm sorry about that. So I am curious if that was like a strategy to make people think that she didn't have a voice, or if she actually did, and
if it affected her, maybe that was the case and she didn't feel like she had a voice, and that, like it was the same with me, I turned my game up and decided I was going to do everything I needed, and maybe she did the same thing. She said, okay, so let's take over and start controlling the votes.
So yeah, so I had a conversation with Taylor. We barely talked strategy, but I still try to talk on day 3. But I told her like, hey, like we look like we're up there with our players. We don't look like we're playing anyone, you know. So I told her like we're in a similar position. She was like, yeah. She would never give me like, oh, like yeah, let's think about something that we can do together. Like she never gave me a time of day. So like, yeah.
I'll second that. I feel like I was not directly working with Taylor. I didn't have a reason to go after Taylor, but there was nothing I felt besides Taylor saying, "Oh look, we were stool buddies on that first day. Like we were the first 2 in." But other than that, there was nothing in like game confirmation that I really got from her that like she wanted to prioritize.
I would agree with that, because for the past 5 rounds before my elimination, I was basically begging and pleading with her to work with me, and she would just do a lot of head nods and I agree with you and it's time to make moves, but when the time came and did it. And obviously she was probably just leading me on, but I struggle with where she may have made a move to shift the game a little bit better in her direction.
And as far as Marcelo goes, because I know we talked a lot about Taylor, I have a hard time picking out what Marcelo did poorly because I felt like he was it, but other people obviously might feel differently because people saw him differently. I thought he was my closest ally in the game, and then he booted me, so like in my mind, I don't see what he did wrong as far as things that weren't going well for him. So I don't know if anybody else can point out.
I'll elaborate on that. I think from the day 1, Marcel had came up to me and he said, I got your back on everything. And the same thing with Taylor. Me and Taylor were on teams pretty much all the time. And anytime I was up for a vote, Marcel always guaranteed that he wouldn't vote. And I feel like, again, as with Taylor, that showed in the votes that I got. Every time the votes came for me, it was typically who I expected was going to pick me.
So what do you need to hear from Marcelo for him to earn your vote tonight?
I think he needs to own his lies. He needs to admit that he had lines of boom, 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 and then he voted us all out.
Well, not me.
No, I promise I was.
Well, for me, I'm in the middle of both because I literally had a final with both, and I kind of feel like I was in a position where I would have got taken to the end by both of them. So for me, I need to just like, I want to know from Marcelo, tell me things I didn't know. Let me know who we talked to about other things, and vice versa with Taylor too. I want to know, like, let me know things that I didn't know with you guys, even though I felt like I knew everything, because I felt you guys were telling me everything. We were in like a tight three, but obviously there's some things that I probably did not know.
And yeah, I'll go back to us talking about them being under the radar. They need to make their game show up on the radar.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think for myself, like I respect under radar game and the fact that like, hey, like if you get to the end, like power to you, yes, it worked, right? But like now, you need to explain to me, like, were you just sleeping on a bed all night, or were you around doing things? And you know, like Marcelo, like a lot of the nights towards the a lot of the nights he was just like he was sleeping, where like Taylor was out like strategizing and creating those bonds, and not knocking him because he was sleeping, like, get your sleep, you know? But like, you know, there's just parts of the game where like, what were you doing? How were you doing it? And were you just letting everybody make decisions and wait until the dust settles?
I would like to know if any of these votes were, she threw out the name, she was the driving force, or if it was just, this is what we're doing, and she went, okay, that's what my group's doing, so I'm going to do that too.
From my perspective, I feel like Taylor was always sitting in that passenger seat next to the driver, while Marcelo will hop back.
Yeah, I know the question originally was what they struggled with, but I know a lot of talk has been said on what moves did they make, and I worked with Taylor longer than Marcelo, so I do have a little more information, and one goes back to the pre-jury with Taylor and Billy and myself, and that round that we won captain, you know, we sat in that room since we were the last three to go. We said, okay, if we win, we literally handpick each team with a specific purpose. So that is a move that she made, and originally it was supposed to be Maddie and Ozzy, because that was my own fear of Ozzy, Sarah, and Maddie that came to light. So
which didn't exist, but just to be clear.
Yes, and I can look back and say I know I was playing scared at that point, and so. You know, Taylor was part of that, Billy and I were part of that, and then the next morning, I know Taylor at least came to me and said, look, I don't know if taking them both out is the best move. So like that is definitely an earlier move that I think did have a ripple effect in the game. So.
But with that, it was the three of you discussing it,
yeah.
So it wasn't, not to discredit that she wasn't part of it or that she didn't come forward the next morning and make an adjustment to it on her own, but that was a discussion the three of you had and hashed out. Okay.
From what I'm getting, people want to know, like, Taylor, did you ever pick anybody to target and
Say, I pick one out.
I'm going to get that person out? Or did you just fall in line and make sure that it wasn't you and your shields were at the back of that line?
Because like you don't always have to like be the person who says the name to be the one kind of driving it, if you know what I mean. Like you can also like abstractly kind of like talk about a person. Oh, I don't know if they're doing this, or put doubt into someone else's head and make that person, you know, say the name, and then so you're shielding yourself because I didn't say your name and somebody else did, but your agenda got sought out. Like even if that's a move that they were making or that's how they were playing it, I can respect that.
I kind of feel the same way about Marcelo, because he never really talked strategy with me. It was always, if I was up, I got you, I'm not voting for you. So like, did you, like, was I a shield? Because he said I was a compy, so was that your way of hiding behind me so you knew you were safe?
Yeah, with me, Marcelo was always, it was just always, yeah, I got you, we're gonna be good, we're gonna make it through. And he kept his cards very close to his chest regarding his relationship with me. So I'd like to see, I think I'm really interested to see how their games shifted along the days.
Yes.
And if they had to switch how they had to play, or if they just played the same way the entire time.
This is not a question I usually answer or ask, but every single question I've asked about any individual person has bled into the same conversation about two separate people. So where do you make that distinction between Marcelo and Taylor? Or did they play such an identical game that you can't? And if so, then how do you decide?
I was just gonna say, it was like, on our view, I think they played an identical game in terms of like the strategy for it, right? Playing under the radar. I think what they need to do is explain how they operated that, or how they came about that strategy and what they were doing through it.
Right.
You know?
They can both have played under the radar, but it's probably they can do it two different ways. So I guess for me, I need them to explain the strategy on them playing under the radar, or our perception may be they're playing under the radar, but it may be something else. So I just want to hear, like, separate yourselves. From our perception, you guys are both both under the radar characters, players. So separate it. Show us how you're different. Certain things. Like we even at one point had a for Cara, AJ, myself, and Taylor, and like I felt like
Roy was in a
Roy was our fifth because he had the pin back. So we were like, okay, we got 2 pins now. We can run the game. So it's like she kind of had like information coming to her. She didn't really have to. While Marcelo was giving like everybody's friend, and I got your back, but I'm gonna have to backstab some of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess to jump off that, was anybody else feeling like they were an information person for Taylor, or was it just Rocky?
Oh, I felt like I was constantly trying to pitch to her idea of who I thought were together in my perception on the game.
Okay,
Which is information.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I also wanted to jump into a different subject that I think we haven't really talked about, competitions, and I think that Taylor put in a ton of heart, and I mean, she gave a run for our money and took out like the biggest competitor the game has ever seen in AJ, and is the reason why he's not here in the final 2.
But sorry, continue. I was just gonna say, with that though, AJ won the first portion of that challenge, and then it came down to Marcelo and Taylor, and then Taylor won on the question part of it. But I don't think we saw Taylor being a driving force in wins until way later in the game. Same with Marcelo though, but then he did start pulling out wins too. He had 2 back-to-back wins, and I do think he was, I don't know if he was on winning teams a lot in the game or not.
No, he was not. He was also not picked for a lot of teams.
That's right.
So at a social level, that's also something to
There
know.
were rounds where Marcelo he was safe and he didn't even have to be on the team. He just like was in the know.
I only know one round where he wasn't picked for a team.
Only one?
I think it was only one round.
I know the second round when it came down to me and Marcelo for Ozzy's last pick, and picked me, so that it was safe. But I'm kind of struggling to remember other rounds.
But also, like, adjacent to that, like, in the order in which he was getting picked, there were a lot of in which he was last pick, right? And so that, like, shows a part of the social game. Whereas Taylor, I feel like, was picked, maybe not first or second, but, like, relatively soon as being last to stand there.
And let's not forget, the first ever, like, the get to know you comp, like, she was tied in, like, for to be a captain. So, I mean, Maddie and Emily got it, but she was in contingency for that as well. Like, I voted for her, obviously.
I voted for her too.
Yeah.
I do just want to say on the picking order though, sometimes there's a strategy to that.
Yeah.
You know, she could have been picked where she was because we're like, we want to guarantee we have someone that we can potentially vote out. I'm not saying that's what happened with her, but that's just something to take into consideration.
No, 100%. I'm not saying, because, like, obviously when we were picking teams, you may not be picking someone to be on your team because you want to win with them, but, like, if you lose, you want to boo them, right? So that definitely is a part of the strategy for sure.
Something I noticed early on in this game was that Taylor wouldn't be in elimination, but she was constantly in rooms with people who were voting. And it irked me so much, but I didn't say anything. And I don't know if she was able to get crucial game information off of that.
That's one thing I can say about Marcelo. When he was not involved in the vote, he was like, I don't really have to talk about that, but I will let people know, like, hey, I'm here for you. If you need to talk. Like, but I don't want to really talk strategy.
He probably could have, though, if he was aligned with so many people. Like, he
Right.
had to play that round.
Right.
Which is what the smartest thing to do for him would be.
Yeah, he played
played the game I was trying to play.
Good question. Would he always like hug you and tell you he has your back?
Yeah.
All of us. Okay.
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 Despite the fact that I thought we had each other.
We had a handshake and we said we were the speakeasy, but I think that was it.
No, for every elimination, you come to me, he's like, I got you. Like, so I felt so good.
All right, my last question. In Ascendance, we like to say that Ascendance tries to elevate your social and strategic game. You're voting for a winner to represent your season. Not thinking about the two people that are setting in finale, what do you think should be the characteristics that represent your season?
Heart. I was going to say if I can touch on that because I think y'all know how much this meant to me. So I want to see them bear that as much as I did. I don't know. I'm hoping that they do, but that's just me.
I agree.
I think if you can sum up or put one word to this season is passion. Passion, like just straight up, like every single one that had played in this competition has played with every fiber in their being, in their heart, and it's just made this what it is. And we pushed each other every step of the way.
And I think we could see that in either of these two for a win.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is I want to see the fire. I don't want like, I want to see like, I got this is what I did.
This is the last challenge right here. You
This,
fight for it.
yes,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for me, I want to see fight. I like under the radar is no more.
Yeah.
You are like
It's out the window.
exposed. And for me, a representation of season 3, honestly, I think we all kind of said it. I mean, I think every season I say it, but we are the top season right now. For me, even though we are, our color is blue, I think for me, representation of season 3 is passion, fire. Like, you have to have that fire to get to the end. Like, the under the radar is cool, but there has to be like a driving force to push you, and I want to know what that is. A good representation of season 3 is like, you have to basically wear your heart on your sleeve right now.
Yeah, so I kind of want to piggyback off of you and Rory with the passion and fire. I also believe truth, because as you all know, I was very truthful and I kept it honest, and I want them to do that as well. Just be true about everything that you did in the game.
Own it. Yes, that's for me. That's a big thing. Own
the game.
Your shit. Like that's it. That's all I want to do.
Don't worry about hurting feelings.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think about my feelings because I may not vote for you because my feelings get hurt.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me exactly what you did, how you did it. I want you to show me all the dirty. But yeah.
So I wanted to ask you guys, both of them obviously did lie a lot. Do you think one lied too much over the other?
I would say just, I guess, from what other people have said here, I guess Marcelo does. Because Taylor was more of the and the not, whereas Marcelo was like, I have, like everybody just said, with the exception of 2, I have your back.
I think it's just lying in different ways. Marcelo put it into words. Taylor was just able to like
Body
Right.
action.
dip out.
Just a hypothetical then, is it lying if she never actually confirms it?
I think it is.
Okay.
I see it
Yes.
that way, but I don't have a problem with anybody lying to get to
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
They respect game.
Right.
Well said.
Okay, everybody feel like they've said their piece?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll close it out here. So in a minute, the final 2 will join you here. They will get to say their opening speeches. You will have an opportunity to question them. You are choosing a winner to represent your season. So keep an open mind, keep an open heart, and may the best player win. Welcome to the finale of Season 3 of Ascendance Live.
And please welcome your final 2, Taylor and Marcelo. So here's how the finale will work.
In a moment, both Taylor and Marcelo will give opening speeches. Then the jury will ask questions, and then we will do closing speeches. So Taylor, since you won Final Captain, you get to choose who does their opening speeches first. Who would that be?
I can start first. Alrighty, coming into this game, I was really hoping that I didn't know anyone, and that just wasn't the case. Coming in, I was the second person sitting down, and then it didn't take long for me to see a few familiar faces and have me thinking like, oh no, like what am I gonna do? How is this gonna go? I didn't come in with a plan. I wait until I see the rest of the cast, and looking at all of you guys, I was pretty scared. You guys all looked really good. And so then I would say that there were only I felt like I connected with many of you guys from the start, and I can confidently say that there were only 2 points in the game where I felt scared for my life in this game, and it was the very first round when we got split into 2 groups of 4, obviously before we won the challenge, and the final 4. I feel like I built relationships with all of you guys, and all of you guys, I will say you, Ollie, we truly just did not have the biggest chance, but I don't think it was because we didn't want to. I think it was because that we just didn't have the chance. We were in eliminations together. I used the relationships between the fresh faces and the old faces to get me further in this game, and I really did stick to people I wanted to work with. I have never played this format before, and it was something I knew that I was going to have to be very adaptable in and constantly maneuvering. I couldn't tell 100% of the truth all the time. As you guys know, it's just hard, but I did try and stick to my word as much as I can. I won a team's captain challenge, I won an individual captain's challenge, and I was selected for co-captain. I also did find a power around after it expired, so I still did meet that goal of mine. I know that I wasn't the flashiest player, but I did have that intention once I started the game, because there's several different types of players. You have the players who go guns blazing either because they want to or they have to, and I completely respect that, but for me that's just not how the cards fell. You have your drivers, the ones who take, whenever there's an accident or bump in the road, they're the ones who are going to take the fall or have to deal with the damage. You have the people in the back seat who might not know what's going on or getting told what to do, but I would say that I was the passenger and I had the GPS, so while I wasn't driving, I was crucial in all the decisions and helping tell people when to make the turns when they have to. I worked very closely with Marcelo. We had decided in the middle of the game, we did want to get to the end together. Whether or not that was going to happen, I knew that because this game is so crazy, it might not, so I made sure to have relationships with other people, and I am super proud of the game that I played. I am so happy to have had a chance to get to know all of you guys. These votes were super hard, and I think that you all should be proud of your game as well. And I'm sure you guys have lots of questions, especially because I do feel like a lot of my decisions happened behind the scenes. And while it was an intention for it to stay that way, I know that sometimes it can make it harder for you guys to see what I was actually doing. So hit me with all your questions and I will definitely answer them to the best of my ability. Good luck, and I am excited.
First off, I want to say thank you, jury, thank you, pre-jury, thank you, production, for this incredible game. This was an experience of a lifetime that I will not forget for as long as I can remember. I started this game kind of walking in, trying to see and feel out how everyone was kind of vibing with this specific format. I was always usually the last half or the last person chosen for a team, so I knew that I had to fight my way from the bottom to the top. I found my adaptability and my vulnerability kept me in a leeway of my social strategy. In the beginning of the game, it was round by round. There are teams that are ever changing and you never knew who you were going to be with until you were with them. The first challenge, I found a power. It was just a swap teams, but I never had to use it, and I knew that if I was ever in a position where I felt like I was in danger, I could swap with someone. I can proudly say right now I have been to every elimination but 3. All of them, I never had my name thrown out. I never had a vote cast against me. That is something that I will hold on to. I feel like my social ability kept me, my strategic ability kept me, my physical ability tried to keep me, but we're gonna talk about that later. I found connections with people. I found connections with Sarah and CJ in our menage a trois. I found a connection with Rocky and Ozzy in the beginning of the game. I found a connection with Kira and Josh when we stayed in the speakeasy king size bed. And then AJ, once you left and came right back in, I knew I needed to find a way to connect with you. Ali, you and I connected because we have the Northern Virginia experience connection. And then Rory, you and I always kind of kept each other in the loop. I always wanted to make sure I was in the know. I wanted to make sure that if I ever felt unsafe, I could go to someone and use my social capital to catapult myself to another round. I am so proud of the game I played. I think I played a game that I can come in here and make sure that I am proud of, and I am. Taylor is right. Taylor and I, we were in the storytelling challenge and we used our telepathy powers. That's such a hard word. We used our telepathy powers to control what our story was. And I think the name of the game for myself is My Story. I started from a place where I didn't know where I was going, all the way to the end, where I won the competitions that I needed to, and when I didn't win the competitions that I needed to, I knew I had people that could help me. Again, I never had my name out there, and I feel that's a testament to my social game. My strategy game was all about making sure I knew where every chess piece was on the board and making sure that it wasn't ever tilted or slanted. It was always straight as can be. So I'm really excited to hear all of your questions. I understand there are stuff that you want to know more of, and I'm really happy to explain more. I know that there were things that were done in the game that you might not know that I've done, you might not know that Taylor done, but we are open to your questions, and I am very excited, and I thank you so much for being here.
Up first, we have Ollie.
Anyways, congratulations, you two. You guys both deserve it. I love the games you all played. I love the under-the-radar type of style, and both of y'all have a chance tonight. So, yeah, congrats. I love you guys so much both. So, question for both of you. My question is, like, since you guys played in a more of a not a driving seat, like a passenger seat type of game, who was like your biggest like shield in the game? And yeah, for both of you, who was the biggest shield?
Yeah, for me, my shields kind of came in pre-jury and the jury phase. In the pre-jury phase, my shield was Billy. Billy was a target in this game, and I knew that him and I were people that if ever people wanted to come for one of us, they would always come for Billy, and that catapulted in the Josh versus Billy, and then Billy passing the pendant to CJ. And then in the jury phase, my snake of all snakes, Josh, was someone who I genuinely wanted as a shield. There were times where I wanted Josh out, but it was all about timing. Timing was everything. If you miss one step, it's gonna lead to chaos in the end. I gave Josh a chance, I gave Josh another chance, I gave Josh 3 chances. All 3 chances failed. However, I knew there was one last chance I needed to have Josh with me. And once Josh was vulnerable, and once I knew that Josh didn't have any powers to pull out of his you-know-what, I was like, let me try my best, and we got Josh out. So those were the 2 shields that I would have as of now to say.
I would say that my shield, who I thought was going to be my shield, was going to be Adam. Obviously, that got me nowhere because he went the first round where I was moving. After that, I would say that naturally, Ozzy and Maddie's relationship, along with Sarah, was kind of the natural shield of people who I had no idea about coming in. They just very clearly and dominantly just kind of were front and center, whether it was in challenges or whether it was in the conversation. But also I would say very heavily AJ and Billy. A lot of you guys don't know, the challenge that we won captains, we picked out every single person who was going to be on our team for when we won that captain challenge. We wanted to split up Maddie Ozzy and Sarah. We wanted to split up, CJ and Josh. We had set it out in complete control based on the relationships that we had perceived. But I did know that even though all three of us had done that, I knew that they were still the front runners in terms of dominating challenges early on. Billy, obviously, he is in pre-jury, so when it came to the jury phase, I really do think it was left to AJ mainly along with Ozzy, because I did have strong relationships with both. I would say that we had really strong conversations. Ozzy, you were front runner, but AJ, we had very, very deep conversations. I also got very close with Josh for round or two, and I did want to utilize him as a shield because, as you said, he was pulling powers out of who knows where. He was doing well in challenges, and he was making moves, having the potential for idols to be played on him. So I would say that the people who dominated the challenges were the ones I used as my shields, because while I wasn't necessarily strong in challenges, I knew what to do after the challenges were over.
Up next we have Kira.
Hey guys, first and foremost, congratulations, you did it, right? You got the thing. So, my question for you, your perceptions in the game come across as playing under the radar, right? Now, whether that is what you planned coming into the game, or what you kind of decided to do during the game, if that is what you did, and that is the game that you wanted to play, why and how?
So I wanted to come in playing under the radar because I have been involved in online games, and I've also been involved in 2 other live games where I was the challenge threat, where I was winning challenges and I had to win to the end. I tried to stay under radar for those games, and I noticed that when I did win the challenges, I put myself in the positions of Ozzy and of AJ, and it just makes it so much harder for the times that you don't win and you can do nothing about it. So I came in wanting to play under the radar, and whether it was my ability, my knee, my toe, whatever liability I came in because of everything that was happening, I decided that I wanted to do my best to continuously let people take the hits, but I was always involved in the conversations, planting little seeds, but I wanted to make sure it was behind the radar. And as far as I know, none of the information I gave to people ever came back to me or exploded. So I think that's a testament that even if I was telling bigger players and maybe they weren't worried, they weren't realizing what I was doing, but it allowed me to have control even if I was under the radar.
I walked into this game wanting to, be vibrant, have my personality speak for itself. But in these games and in the online world, that can flame out really fast. So I knew I needed to see where people were falling and who was being the hype men of the night of night one. We saw that people were going towards Ozzy, people were going towards Ali. We were finding out people that had more energy and all that type of stuff. So for me, I wanted to make sure that, yes, I have the energy, but I knew from the beginning of the game, my under the radar standpoint led me to where I am currently at now. However, I feel like that changed. And my strategy changed when the jury phase happened of this game. I felt like we went into individuals, and since we didn't have any teams to lay back on, or we were all voting, so I felt like once the individuals hit, I knew I needed to keep my foot on the gas pedal and play a little under the radar, but also make my voice heard. I'm used to, in my personal life, having people speak for me and making me feel like I am a second or a third person. I wanted to be my own priority. I wanted to put myself first because that's who I am as a person. And doing that made me continue in this game. People came to me to tell me, oh, I've heard this, I know you've heard this because I've told people this. So I thought the under the radar aspect of the first half of the game was strategy, because I wanted to see where it's a live game. We're talking in person. It's not online where you can hide behind the camera. We are seeing body, posture. We're seeing different types of, we all have our own kind of emotional ways of living. So I thought I need to see that and continue my way. So was that my strategy coming in? My strategy was just to survive, and I feel like it was layers on top of layers of all that type of stuff. So.
Next we have Rory.
I
I just want to congratulate both of you on being in the seat that everybody here wanted to be in. So we just want to see that fight and fire for this, which I think you guys are already proving. Just please keep it up. As somebody who came into this with my heart fully on my sleeve and barely wearing a sleeve as it is, but the point is, I want to ask you guys, for me, this was everything, and I think I showed that when I walked out the door. I lost my voice playing this game. That's how bad I wanted this. I want to know from both of you what this game means to you and how you are going to represent us.
Wow, this game means a lot to me. I am someone who, I'm not going to try to get emotional up here, but if it happens, it happens. I am someone who sees the best in everyone and tries to make sure that I keep optimistic and positivity flowing throughout everything. I played Ascendance, the online version, at the beginning of this year, and it was an emotional roller coaster to say the least. And when I was asked to come and play Ascendance live, I knew it was my chance to rewrite my history in Ascendance and also prove to myself that I could do it. I walked in here and I thought I was going to be out before the night ended. Like, I thought they were going to be like, all right, first challenge, vote someone out. And I was like, well, that's probably going to be me. Every day I went to prove to myself that I can do it, that I can hold my own, that I can make sure that I am the one representing this season. I am someone who comes from a family of fighters. When I was younger, I always tell this story, when I was born premature, and I had a 40% chance of living, 60% chance of dying. And I'm here. That 40% chance turned into 100, and that 60% chance turned into 0. And I'm sitting right here, telling myself that I could do it, and I did it. So whatever happens tonight, I am proud of the game I played. I am proud of everyone here. And I proved to myself that no matter any obstacle, I can overcome it. And I'm doing that right now.
Thank you. Taylor?
I will say that coming into this game, there's lots of things that I wanted to prove. I have never played Ascendance before, so I just wanted to know that I could get thrown into a group of people and just be able to go about the different relationships in terms of game, but also take friendships, lifelong friendships out of the game with me. I am currently in law school, and looking at me, I feel like it just seems very clear that I have everything in my life put together, but I also come from a family of fighters, very unconventional family. I am a first-generation college student, all sorts of things, and I have a lot going on in my personal life right now. So I just wanted to prove that I could just take a step back and, put myself first, whereas I feel like I am constantly putting other people first, whether just in all sorts of terms. I have lots of things going on in my family outside of this, so I just wanted to prove that I could do this for myself, and I just wanted to prove that I could do it for myself.
Up next we have CJ.
First, congratulations, you both deserve it. I'm just gonna kind of start the statement, I think. So, earlier in this game, I made a statement about there being snakes in the grass when I decided to save Josh. And I've gathered a lot of information since then, and it seems like the biggest snake is still in the game. So, Marcel, I would like to know, and I only want one name with no reason. And if you do any more than that, my vote goes straight to Taylor. I want to know from the jury on, who are you loyal to and who are you going to take to the final two?
Rocky.
Name. Thank you.
Up next we have Sarah.
So obviously there's been a lot of conversation, both from yourselves and from us, that the perception, and now owned up to it, is that you guys were under the radar or passenger seat players. So I want to know from the both of you, of the votes in this game where people went home, where were you the driving force of that vote? Not I helped with some other people plan this, or I voted in that, so therefore I'm part of it, but where you decided this is the person who needs to go and you made it happen.
I would say the biggest vote that I was a driver in was your vote. I know that I was not the only one who was thinking about it, but I think I was the one that put it into action. I think a large part of that was because I was safe that round, and I was aware of, I had relationships with all of you, and people were coming to me, and I feel like I did know everything going on in the game. So I would say it was you. I do think that you were a threat. You're a very smart player, so testament to your game. But yes, I would say that I know I was a part of co-planning votes, but I would say that for the biggest, the vote where I had the biggest say was your vote.
I think the vote that I had the biggest say in was Josh's vote. When the competition was happening, when we were doing the Scrabble, my only goal in that game was to make sure that Josh didn't win, and Josh got second place in that challenge. I knew that there was only a couple more opportunities to get rid of Josh before Josh takes this game to the end. So I thought to myself, I talked to Rocky, I said, look, if Josh doesn't win, we gather our people. He doesn't have a power anymore. He's basically looking around everywhere, paranoid, so we need to make sure that this is the time to get Josh out, and it was successful.
Up next we have Josh.
First off, congratulations. You two completely ran this game, and I'm very proud of you both. You should be very proud. My question is, I would like to know what was your biggest risk that you took in this game, and I would like a specific instance and how it worked out for you.
Sure. I think the biggest risk I took in this game was planning the teams with AJ and Billy for who was going to be on what team, because while I did think I had really strong relationships with a lot of you guys, I knew that I also had to make it a conversation, and it couldn't just be like my way or the highway. But I still think that I was able to be a driving force, and I got pretty much everyone who I wanted on my team on that team. And so I think I was always involved in the conversations. I was always working together for those votes. But yeah, I think that was the biggest one.
My biggest risk in the game was the final four, because I was choosing between two people who I knew were loyal to me, and I had proven my loyalty to both of them. It was between Rocky and it was between Taylor. AJ had basically, it was either win or go home in that sort of sense. So I talked to Rocky, and I told Rocky, I'm not voting you. However, Taylor and I talked almost all the time about how we wanted to get to this point together. I just knew that my loyalty lied mostly with Rocky in that standpoint. And Taylor and I talked about it, and she was basically like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why is this the move that you need to make? And I pledged my loyalty to Rocky in the early game, and I knew that Rocky and I wanted to sit in these final two chairs, and I knew that was the biggest risk, because Rocky either was going to win fire and stay, or he was going to lose fire and go home, and Taylor would stay and still have this feeling towards me that I betrayed her, and going into a final two where going into a final three where I'm not a competition threat. I have two people who are and could very well just take each other, and I'm left to third place. So I think that was the biggest risk that I had to take in this game, and I took it, and it's led me here.
Can I also, it has nothing to do with what you just said, but I just kind of forgot. I also want to say two more big risks I took was with the Kiara vote. I put all my trust into information that was coming solely from CJ, solely from a person who had his name on the chopping block and really had nothing to lose. I truly wanted to work with you. I felt like we were finally starting to build that relationship. And so when CJ came to me and told me information I had not known about you, some things that like weren't lining up with conversations we had, I had to decide which way I was going to go, because it was such a crucial part in the game where people were so paranoid about powers, what they were going to do. But I think the biggest risk was doing that, just because that was around where we felt that you would be the most comfortable not to play the power. But just putting all my trust into one person was such a huge risk for me. And yeah, I forget that one.
I also wanted to say another risk, because another risk that I made in this game was Sarah. We were talking about it last night, how Sarah was a big threat in this game, And I didn't want Sarah to go, but I knew that the numbers were there, but I knew for my sake, I told Sarah I would never vote for her. I voted for you that round, knowing that she was going home. I know that you looked at me and you said, am I getting blindsided? And I said, I don't know. I'm here to say I didn't know. And I just want to own up to that because it broke my heart to see you go home. And I didn't want to do it, but I knew that there were going to be a moment where people were going to pit us against each other, and I needed to fight for myself at that moment.
Up next, we have Ozzy.
First of all, congratulations, you guys made it here. Super proud of you. Whoever wins, well deserved. So now I'm finding out that you guys have relationships with Josh. So my question is for both of you. When it came to between me and CJ, and you guys had to re-vote, and you guys were worried about going to rocks, if you flipped the vote and it was towards me to be eliminated, would you have flipped?
At that point, I was not going to flip on you. I had heard that CJ from more than one person that CJ had gone and said me, CJ, and Sarah were in an alliance and they wanted to take it to the end. And I thought to myself at that point, I need to fight fire with fire and figure out my path to the end. So I would not have flipped if everyone had gone to you and it was against you and CJ. My vote was going to stick on CJ. So I just thought that was the best move for my point to propel myself forward.
And for me, I also would not have flipped, not because I think that you were not a threat. I think you were visibly a threat. I think that we had just built a relationship earlier and I felt confident still hiding behind you at that point in the game. And also if I needed you, I thought that I still had you. It was nothing against you. I think that you were a fighter and you were on a roll at that point. So I definitely think that had I flipped, I don't think it would have been beneficial in my game because I think you would have been in a very powerful position to make moves go your way a lot more than I think necessarily you, who was in the line of fire more.
Up next, we have Rocky.
Oh, my final sentence. I don't even have a question for you both, because I was like sitting in Matt in the driver's seat. I was sitting in the passenger seat with both of you simultaneously. We were supposed to be in the final three. And pick how we're going to do this. So I guess for me, it's just because I had a final two with both of you, just explain to me why I should vote for you. This is a very split decision for me. I really honor my word with both of you, so I want to know why I should vote for you.
I think that you should vote for me because we established our relationship night one. I was a little bit worried. I really wanted to play with you and we were getting each other's eyes night one, but I was also scared because I knew that you also had other people that you would likely want to work with as well. I came to you with literally everything. Anytime I heard your name, I told you, I guess this goes along with the risk, I told you to play your power to flip and make a move on Billy because I thought that it would be good for the both of us at that time. So I think that I was part of that conversation when deciding what you should do, and I kept that information with me. And when people asked me if I knew about you, what you were going to do, I said no because I did not want to put dirt on like your game position, I guess. I was trying to fight for you even until the final four when I said, hey, Marcelo and AJ, like it's between me and you, but why does it have to be between us? You know, I said, they're saying that I'm like the bigger threat at this point, but I was still, even until the very end, fighting for the both of us. We spent every night together. We looked for powers together. I didn't think people knew at first, and we did whatever we could to downplay our relationship, but everything I did from the beginning was like with you, and I think you knew that. We were constantly scheming, laughing in all the rooms. Probably thought we were a lot sneaker than we ever were. But yeah, I was riding out with you to the very end, and I think you knew that.
Rocky, when I saw you night one and you walked in, I said, this will either be really good for us or really bad for us. And it was really good for us. You know how much love I have for you in this game and out of this game. Why you should vote for me is because I know if I was in your shoes and you were sitting here, I would vote for you. You have played an exceptional game. You were literally taken out by a competition. You did not give up. You told me in the laundry room that you were thinking, maybe I throw in the towel, and when you said, no, I'm not, I want to compete in fire, I looked you in the eyes and I said, let's do that, because we were in this together. You were always going to be someone who I looked to for advice, I looked to for game things, because I knew you knew what was going on. You have such a personable attitude and you have such a personable aura that you have such, people want to come and talk to you. So I knew that you were someone who I needed to work with. And when we linked up night one and we said, let's talk later, and then we talked later and we talked about how we're doing it for the both of us, I knew then and there that we were going to get to this position. Obviously, it ended in the face-off, but why you should vote for me is because I fought tooth and nail to get here. And I know that you respect game, and I know you respect that. Taylor has done the same thing, but I feel like I fought it so much harder with you by my side. So I think that's why you should vote for me.
Finally, we have AJ.
Well, congrats to both of you. I'm so proud of each of you. I saw moments in this game where both of you fought, and I love that. Because as you guys know, I fought just as hard, so great job for that. Something that was really important to me coming into this game was just personal growth, understanding more about me as a person. And someone in this jury, and I'm going to call him out, Ozzy, taught me a lot about myself, just about being more confident. So I want to know something that you guys learned or some way you grew throughout this game, this experience, this life-changing experience we all had together. Name one of those things that you grew or learned in a positive way.
To get it positive. What I learned about myself through this is that I should not be taken for granted. I'm someone who lights up a room when I walk in, is what I've been told, and sometimes I doubt that, sometimes I actually vibe through that. And this game was hard. This game was not easy. There was an emotional moment. There was, fighting moments, and like you said, I fought. There were moments where I fought because I knew I had to, and I knew I want to respect the game, and I want to, enlighten myself, because I almost didn't come. I almost wanted to say, no, I'm gonna stay back. I'll watch the season and support the people on it and support the prod team. But I said to myself, you know what, at the end of the day, placement does not define my worth. Whatever happens, I got here. Whatever happens, I did it. And I learned that it's okay to have those moments where you want to give up, but not doing that. I was in that challenge today where I was holding onto those bars. I was telling myself, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Because my inner child, do I want to tell the 7-year-old me, oh, when you grow up, you're going to give up? No. So I learned that I can persevere and I can do what I came here to do.
For me, I would say the biggest thing I learned about myself, that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to be myself. I feel like I've constantly, just based on the way I grew up and the chaos that has always surrounded me, and now being in law school, I feel like I always have to put on a front. I always have to act like I'm the best of the best, nothing's wrong, I don't have my own struggles. And here I felt like I could just be myself and just say the most random things and have you guys laugh at me just being me. It meant so much. I seriously have learned so much about you guys personally, and just hear how you guys responded to me and accepted me, and I wasn't even trying to put on a front. Just meant a lot.
Great. We will now move into closing speeches. Since Taylor went first in opening, Marcelo will go first in closing.
A wise man once said, you know what they say about glass? It shatters. And for me, that actually means more to me now that I'm sitting right here, because there was a wall in front of me that I didn't want to break down, because I was nervous that people were going to judge me before they even got to know me. So adaptability, vulnerability, tenacity, and just overall maturity was something that I strived to in this game. I wanted to make sure that my name was not in people's mouths. My name was something in a positivity way. I wanted to make sure that there were moments where I felt like I was in control. Yes, I played an under the radar game. Some people like to say under the radar games are a little, not the best. However, I wanted to own it. I wanted to highlight the under the radar energy that I have. I made connections with each of you personally that I will hold in my heart for as long as I live, because something about this game that I love is that all of us come from different walks of life. All of us come from different parts, and it's amazing to see and amazing to be. And I think something that really makes me happy is in this game, I made sure I did it my way, not anyone else's way. I wanted to make sure that I was where I needed to be. I was in the passenger seat, just like Taylor said earlier. I was in the passenger seat with that GPS saying, go left, go right, go left, wait, there's a red light, stop. I made sure that I was in the passenger seat until I knew I needed to get in the car. I need to get in the car and I need to drive all the way to where I am right now. I've taken what you have all said and I'm going to own up to it. Was I a snake? Yes, I was a snake. I'm going to own up to it. This is like hierarchy. The snake needs 9 people to die for them to win. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people up there. So I, as the snake of the season, if that's what we want to call it, in hierarchy, the snakes win when that happens. And I have told you all individually that there are moments, yes, that I lied. I can't be 100% fully transparent, but I'm going to own up to that. However, everything I said personally about how I enjoy each and every one of you on a personal level has been truthful. That has never faltered. I thank you all for these questions. I thank you all for taking time to hear us out and not just push us to the side. Taylor and I have worked really hard to get to this point, but I'm going to speak about why you should vote for me. You should vote for me because I have played this game with my heart. There were moments where I had to play this game with my head, but every time I made a decision, it was a gut decision to propel myself forward. I had allies who helped me get to this position. I had people who I genuinely wanted to hold on to and walk to this position who have unfortunately got eliminated. But I think to add a little flair to this game, I'm wearing blue. Blue is the color of the sky. The sky is huge. My heart is huge, and I think that in this game, I made the moves that I wanted to be proud of. I have no regrets. A drag queen once said, winning isn't everything, but wanting to is, and I want to win this game. So thank you, jury, thank you, pre-jury, thank you, everyone, because you have made this experience a once-in-a-lifetime thing that I am very proud of, and I'm very excited to see what happens. Good luck to you. I love you so much. Thank you.
Oh, hard to follow that one. Like I said before, I came into this game without a plan, and I am just so fortunate to seriously have made a relationship with every single one of you, and I look forward to extending these relationships after the game. I played this game so hard, and I know that it wasn't the flashiest game, but I know you guys are going to see so much more that you guys will be so surprised about once everything comes out. I am so proud of all of the moves I was part of. There was nothing that I was left out of. I checked off so many things on my bucket list. I won a challenge. I got here. I found a useless power. And I just played with my heart the whole time. I might have broken a toe, like I might have had some bumps in the road, but I just feel like I was always involved, and I feel like you guys know that my name was not ever out there with you guys, and I don't think that it was because I wasn't playing. I think it was because I wanted you guys to think I wasn't playing. I knew everything that was going on, and like he said, I'm sorry that I couldn't be 100% truthful, but it was part of the game that I had to play to get to this very seat. I played hard. I knew what I was doing. I feel like I've said this before, I told you guys so much and none of it was coming back, whereas obviously you guys were so explosive. If anything was said, it was getting out. So I just feel like that's a testament to the relationships that I built and the confidence that you guys had in me. Obviously, we can't all get here. AJ, I'm so sorry that you were in that seat over there, and like he said, placement is not a testament to your game. And it's not that I was trying to take an easy way out, because I know that there was lots of talks about taking Marcel, not because, you played a game like you hadn't explained it yet, but at the same time, I wanted to be able to explain my game without being hidden by all the flashy moves. And so I just like want you guys to appreciate that just because it's not the flashiest and I know it's harder to understand, that I was involved in several moves. There was never anything that I did not know was going on besides the power plays and the Aussie votes. And even then I still had control there and I knew what I was gonna do, and I predicted pretty much every single person that was gonna go. I told several of you, this is who we need to go next, boom, 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 and that's what happened. Whether it was just on my own or with the help of all of you guys, because I literally wouldn't be here without you guys. I am very proud of my game. I don't have regrets. I gave this my all, and for the 350th time, y'all look so good.
The power now shifts to the hands of the jury. One by one, the jury members will go in and cast their votes for a winner. A winner. We're gonna have you all leave. No. A winner, girl. No, I stress it every season. Please vote for a winner. Don't come out here after I reveal your vote and be like, I thought it was a vote to eliminate. A winner. I have the votes. Before I reveal the votes, I just want to say thank you all for such an amazing season. Honestly, I know I say this every season, but it's such like a top tier season. You guys just keep overperforming and overdoing, and I love it. So give a round of applause. Let's get into the juicy stuff that everyone wants. Yeah. So you want to see your face on these cards. The first card I will show is the juror, and then the next card will be who they voted for. It takes 5 votes to win. You guys ready?
Yeah.
There's so many. Sarah has voted. For Marcelo to win. CJ has voted. For Taylor to win, we are tied. 1 vote Marcelo, 1 vote Taylor. Ali has voted. For Taylor to win, that is 2 votes Taylor, 1 vote Marcelo. Ozzy has voted. Marcelo to win. We are tied. 2 votes Marcelo, 2 votes Taylor. Rocky has voted. Marcelo to win. That is 3 votes Marcelo, 2 votes Taylor, 4 votes left. Rory has voted. Marcelo to win. That is 4 votes Marcelo, 2 votes Taylor, 3 votes left. AJ has voted. For the winner of Ascendance Live Season 3, you have anything to say?
I'll leave. No. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for this experience. It is a once in a lifetime. Who knows? Dueling duos. Whoever wants to do a duo, let's. I am shocked. I don't have words, but I love you all so much. No matter the vote, we literally like. I told Taylor, if she wins, I win.
Right.
It's just one of those things. So I love you all. I'm still shocked as hell that I just won this game, but oh my god!
game, my goal was to maneuver through a format I had never played before. I had no idea I would be able to make so many strong bonds and not only use those, but I was able to win team challenges, individual challenges, and I never had to rely on powers to get to the end. I was able to play a game that I had never played before. I wanted to try hiding behind the scenes while also making critical moves when I needed to, and I did just that. I'm really proud of the game I played, and even though I fell just short, I have no regrets, and I know that I'm carrying out friendships with people that I would have never imagined meeting. Ascendance Live is a game for anyone. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. I highly recommend it, and I had a blast.
Josh and Kira also voted for Marcelo, so the final vote count was 7-2.
I did it. I won Ascendance Live Season 3. I came into this game and I wanted to make sure that I had the most fun and the best time that I have, and I can say right now that that is the fact of the matter. I played my heart out. I played the game that I wanted to play. I hold no regrets, and I'm just so happy that the jury respected my game and the jury understood my game and gave me the win. This has been an incredible experience, and what I'm taking away is just the joy and the friendships and the competitiveness of this season. I'm so excited to be the reigning winner, and I just can't wait for more.
So I will be voting for Taylor to win Ascendance Live Season 3. She represented the season so well. She played such a phenomenal under the radar game, which we all would love to do. She masterminded votes. And yeah, I'm voting for somebody that deserves to be the face. But both of them played an amazing game, so I'll be happy with either of them as a winner. I know I should have won, but thank you so much for casting me. I had a great time. I loved it, okay? Alright, thank you.
Alright, Marcelo, you are phenomenal. Taylor, you're also amazing, but Marcelo, I'm giving it to you. Your speech was so eloquently put, and I do believe that you are the most deserving of this role, and you explained your case, you played with your heart and your soul, and I commend you. So well done. Cool.
I won last time. So glad I get to do this. They both, I think that is the best final I have ever seen. But I think one of them just resonated a little bit more with me with what I wanted. Marcelo, good job. But no matter what happens, holy shit to both of you. I'm gonna be happy no matter what happens here, but I gotta give it here.
Okay. Oh man, I'm still feeling like I don't know. I think, wow, those speeches were incredible. They both did an amazing job. Wow, I feel like Marcelo almost got me with the snake thing. But I think because I said there was two people in this game that never had a chance of winning, and that was Taylor was one of those. And it's not often that I have to eat my words, and she made me eat my words, so I'm gonna vote for Taylor.
Both of you gave an incredible response to our questions, and your speeches were incredible. I think a lot came to light that I didn't know particularly about Taylor, but also about Marcelo's game. It's a really tough call. I think you guys played very similar games. I am ultimately going to be voting for Marcelo.
I am going to be voting for the person who I felt ran circles around all of us, and my vote will be going to...
So both Marcelo and Taylor had beautiful opening speeches, and the answering to their questions was also amazing, but one closing speech really stood out to me, and comparing eliminating us to being a snake, I give my vote to Marcelo.
Alright, this is a very, very tough decision for me. I love you both wholeheartedly, and I mean that. I'm going more with passion. I'm going more with a personal story, somebody that I feel like I connected with, I connected with both of you. So my vote
I know I probably said this a lot about this always being a hard vote, but this is truly the hardest vote because I've grown to love these people so much. But at the end of the day, we can only vote for one, and this is not personal. I just had to vote for the person that I think will represent our season well, and that person is Marcelo.